Hi, I'm Nikki Woods, and today we're going beyond the studio with, I guess, a future NFL pro, right?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Justice Cunningham is an NFL draft pick who was invited to the NFL Combine during your senior year. You're at the University of South Carolina?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me how that happened. Tell me how all of this, because I am not, I like sports, but I'm not really all up on the NFL. How does it happen that you get invited to the draft?
The draft or the combine?
Combine, I'm sorry.
As far as the combine, I mean, you just sit. You have to, at the end of the season, kind of wait for an invitation. They usually give out their first list first, as far as players they want instantly. I was on the waiting list. I had to wait till January 25th to figure out to get my email or letter in the mail that I was invited for the combine.
And so what was that moment like for you? What did that mean to you?
It was a big blow as far as personal pride, because it really wasn't a big deal about going to the combine as far as getting drafted, because there's I want to say 200 and something players that go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, of all the players that go, it's probably almost half of them that don't get drafted. So I had to keep that in my space as far as if I do go or not. Because if I didn't go, I couldn't have that feel like I wouldn't get drafted just because of that. I had to remember my play on the field would get me farther. But when I did go, it felt good just to be able to say I was invited to the combine.
I bet. How old were you when you started playing football?
I was in 5th grade when I first started playing football. It was fun.
Did you know instantly that's what you wanted to do, or?
No, growing up, in my head, I was a basketball star.
Really?
You get a little more face time. I had fun playing basketball. It was always my dream, but when you don't grow as tall as you want to be, you got to adapt, play what you can do, what you can do.
It's interesting because I have two sons. One is 11 and one is 9, and they're both one is really tall and one is, really solid. So it's like people have already said, okay, you're going to be a football player and you're going to be a basketball player, and they don't want to play either one. So
oh, really?
They both love baseball. So it's really, really interesting.
Can't argue with baseball. Those guys out there, hey, they're getting paid these days.
So tell me what you learned growing up. I mean, because I know I played sports growing up as well, and I think that there are a lot of life lessons that you learn as well as just the game and sport. But what are some of the things that football has taught you?
Football has taught me at the end of the day, hard work really pays off.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as anything you do in life. Because when I first started playing football, I was never known as the fastest. I was always known as slow justice. My uncle called me molasses.
Really?
So as far as they know, I was like the slowest thing in the world. But I've worked on my speed nonstop since I first started playing football. And when I talk to coaches now, even though my 40 time wasn't the fastest, they tell me I'm way faster than people give me credit for. And I feel like my hard work over the years is really the reason for that.
So I know that you mentioned, how many people actually go to combine and how many actually get drafted, and they give percentages that show how low of kids that actually play sports, even through college, how low the percentages of those who actually make it to the professional level of sports. What do you say to kids about keeping, I guess, their dreams in perspective? I mean, everybody wants to be the next Michael Jordan or the next whoever. What do you say to kids about keeping things in perspective?
It's just a mindset you have to keep yourself in. Like when I first started playing football, a lot of my cousins and friends were playing with me, and we all had our dream. We were all gonna go to the NFL. We were all gonna live the lavish life, and just take care of our families and everything. And then the older you get, more speed bumps keep coming across, as far as wanting to hang out, drinking, females. Just more speed bumps keep coming.
But you saved all of that for college, right?
Yes, ma'am. Of course.
Okay, good.
You just gotta get that. That was one thing that kind of stood at me from all my friends. I never really got into all that until I was older, because I knew once I got to college, I could probably have a little more fun then, because I actually almost made it then.
And tell me about the work that you put in, because that's another good point. It's like when I told my kids that sometimes people, in college you practice twice a day, they almost passed out because they didn't realize how much time and effort that you actually have to put in to this life of playing sports. So what is the intensity of the practices like for you?
It was a big adjustment for me in college. High school, I used to run about 1.5 miles before practice, just because I know practices weren't gonna be too bad, and I wanted to be in better shape than everyone. But when you get to college, it's a grind. Like you're on somebody else's schedule, and that's something you got to get used to. When you're not in class, you going straight to team meetings. You in meetings, you're going straight to practice. As soon as practice is over, you're going straight to study hall. And the little free time you have, that's kind of what separates you from everybody else. As far as whether you're going to be watching film, or you're going to be on your own, doing your own work over the off season, or you're going to be out having fun all the time. And that kind of separates a lot of people at the end of the day.
And so what about education? What are you studying at the University of South Carolina? And do you have dreams to do something beyond football?
I'm going to get a degree in sports and live entertainment management in May. And after football, I've always had a dream of being a scout or a coach. Because I've always, football is really in my blood right now, as far as I just like everything about it. And then Ozzie Newsome, who's the general manager for the Baltimore Ravens, always been a role model for me because he played my position coming out, and I like the process he took through the front office to get where he's at. And
you play tight end, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what words of advice would you have for those of us who are watching and waiting to see what's going to happen with your career?
No advice. I mean, I've always been known as an underdog coming through school, as far as high school, college, but when I get where I'm at, I always make a big statement. Everybody respects me at the end of the day, and I'm always accountable.
You show up big, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I like that, and you're always accountable. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, congratulations. We're proud of everything you've already achieved, and like I said, I'll be watching now. I got a reason to watch.
Thank you, and I'm going to do what I can. Make you proud.
Yeah, I think you've already done that. So, Justice Cunningham, we appreciate you, and we'll be watching to see what happens with you and your career.
Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.